Good evening, everyone. My name is Terry Coleman, and I have the opportunity and the pleasure of being in the presence of Mr. Hammerahbi this evening. We're going to ask him a few questions and give you guys some information about him and where he grew up and some things that I bet you don't know. So hold tight, and we're going to get down to the first question. Yes, do you all know who that is? Now look at that face right there. Okay? Don't be ashamed to laugh and smile. 82 years young, Mr. Hammerahbi. By the way, this may be Dougie Fresh's father for those who did not know. All right now. Welcome this evening, Mr. Bay. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions this evening?
No, I don't. That's all the ones you want to.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, tell me, first off, what was your childhood like?
Wow. Well, I had a great childhood with my mother, my stepfather, and my father who brought me in, so I had to be comfortable with him. Wouldn't never be here without him. But my mom had 18 children.
18?
18 singles. And in that, I was selected on my own will as well to not go to school and go to the clinic at 11 and 12 and 13 years old. Babysit the children while my mother was having 10 children in a row by my stepfather.
Oh.
And he was a working man, so that cut away from my education. But it didn't cut away from my mindset. Okay. Because your mind is a little more than what people tell you.
Okay.
Because we'll find out as we go along, there's a bunch of things that we thought we knew, and we didn't know nothing because we was miseducated.
Right.
So that gave me a more scientific way to think in life and not use religion without going into it and finding out, you know, what is that noise on the car?
I'm sorry?
I'm talking? I'm just saying, if you hear noise on your car, you got to figure out what it is.
Oh, on the car.
You know, do you keep going forward? But we don't do that. Like when it's Mother's Day, we didn't know anything about that. I didn't know either.
Right.
But my mother had 18 children, and she didn't know that she had 18 Mother's Days.
Oh, 18 Mother's Day, you said?
Every day was different. She had no twins. She didn't know that, and she died.
Oh.
And that put me on a journey of explaining it to people. And I've gotten kind of good at it. No matter what you say, I have something to tell you that'll make you change your mind, most of the people. Right. The science is there to add and subtract, and once you know how to do that, then you're still good, and that's math. So I get a lot of people to understand what I'm talking about because I actually went through this here.
Okay.
You know, I'm glad to be where I came from.
Yes.
And I noticed that my son and a lot of my friends are being like I am, you know, being respectable, honor your mother and father so your days will be long.
Okay.
People don't know what that means. You know, I do. I learned that. A lot of us did not learn that because they came from bad childhood.
Right.
You know, they kill people, and we say that he's a bad guy, but we don't know what he went through and call himself getting back at people. So we need to have counseling involved into whatever happens. So when you go to jail, you don't get fixed there. You just do time and leave. When you come out, you ain't learn nothing. You know, so within our own family, of whoever it is, and color, it doesn't matter, we have to make sure that a person gets the help that they need. We don't do that. In our own neighborhood, we don't do that. We say he ain't no good and leave him alone. And he go back to jail 4 or 5 times. You know, so I really appreciate what I learned from my mother, my stepfather, and my life was passed on through my father and mother. I know it was a little long-winded, but thank you.
And what was your life like when you were in the military?
I was never in the military.
Okay.
The jail is almost like military, though.
It is.
Oh yeah,
I've heard people reference that before.
It's like it's the same thing actually.
Okay.
See, out here you're in jail.
Right.
As a black nigga in college, you're in jail. That's why our children get shot and beat up by the police, and you see the guy get on it, they cut him loose.
That takes us back to the mindset, right?
Right.
Which we're going to get into later.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are some of the trades that you have?
Wow. Well, I went to a vocational school in Baltimore, and I took up carpentry. Carpentry is a science more than the writing. And I ran away from all the reading stuff because I couldn't read.
Oh.
But I knew not to ever leave the school because Mama will get you when you come home.
Okay.
So I stayed in the school, and I got accepted by running around to all the different shops, but never left the school. So they let me do that. So I was in the cooking class.
Okay.
I was in arts and craft.
Okay.
I was in the paint shop. Everything was in there. I was there because guess what? All that stuff is scientific. You can take that in even if you can't read.
Right.
And all of those things I have on my business cards. Carpentry, plastering, plumbing. And here in this town, I was a super here at Greater Centennial Homes in 82. At 88, I was a super at 816 East 4th Street. Mm-hmm. Then I went to Haverstraw. I was in Manhattan. You know, and I actually care and love people. So when I was a super, you had to do what you're supposed to do, and the landlord had to do what he's supposed to do. I was not on anybody's side but the truth. So, and now I get an opportunity to spread what I know with people, you know. So that's a good experience for me now. So now I'm traveling around with my son, and I'm getting the same experiences. That I can tell people things that they don't know, never heard of before.
I understand. Well, a lot of people aren't familiar with the Moorish. Tell us a little bit about your introduction to the Moorish Science Temple.
Well, my introduction to the Moorish Science Temple is when I got rid of religion at 14 years old, and I realized that what you read in the Bible and all that stuff, those are stories. It's a story like you watch the movie and the guys is fighting. It's a story. That ain't the truth. The truth is different from true. True, when you got something that says it's true, they can do anything they want to make it true. But the truth is actually what the science of whatever happened. Like the sun is shining, that's the truth.
Right.
The sun is out there, but you can't see it because the clouds is in the way. Right. You know?
Well, so with 18 children that your mother had, tell us about the children that you have and your grandchildren.
Well, I have 10 children, 20 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. And I have many people who call me dad and pops. And I had told Doug about 6 or 7 months ago, I said, you know what? I'm not going to use that word father no more. I'm going to use the trade of father. And it's called fathering.
Okay.
So if you use the trade of fathering, you do it right. Like you're an electrician, you want to put the lights and make sure they work. So doing fathering is you have to learn how to do exactly what a father's supposed to do.
Right.
So you do that by doing fathering. So I have fathered many people because I am an elder and because I do tell them things and I do counsel people and I don't have no degree, but I'm good at it.
Okay.
Because you care, and I thank my mother and my stepfather for me help raising those children. That's where I got my start at. So my brothers and sisters now are 63 down to in their 50s.
Right.
And I raised them. I took them to the clinic. I washed them, bathed them, clean their diapers.
Oh, okay.
Not Pampers
right.
now. You had to take the crap out of the
Not too
the
many
diaper
men are
and
equipped
wash
to-
it out in the toilet.
Oh,
and get
old
the bleach.
school.
Yeah.
Old school.
So nothing bothers me now.
Did y'all have one of those things that you start to scrubbing when you start cleaning the diapers?
Where? All you had was a scrub board.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but you got to get the doo-doo out first.
Oh.
You got to take it out of there, put it in the toilet with your hands. There were no gloves.
No gloves.
You see, so I live differently. People say, I got to put gloves on. I don't care about no damn gloves. I wash my hands.
Right. And what year were you born?
I was born August the 10th, 1941.
1941. And Dougie Fresh is your son. And I understand that you are his security, you're his father, and you travel with him when he travels.
Yes.
So how has being an international traveler been for you?
Well, that travel helps me to still do the same things that I do. I talk to Prince, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Jalil from Houdini, Curtis Blow, all those people I talk to as a father because I'm older than all of them. So if I hear you say something, I'm going to comment about what you say. But what I'm going to give you is going to be the truth. You've never heard it before, but the respect you have for me, you listen. That's all we need is to find somebody who will listen to you, and you give it to them in a way of not anger. You know, I told my son, I said, Abdul, you can't call women bees and call a guy a bee because he acts nasty or something. You don't do that. You can never help him.
They use that terminology a lot now.
Because they're ignorant. You cannot help somebody if you're going to call them out their names and a whole bunch of names. Figure out what happened to the person to make him act that way.
Right.
You know, like you got your frying pan on, you put the fire underneath the frying pan, right? Yes. And you walk away, the pan start to burning and shit, and you throw the fucking pot out the window. The pot didn't do that.
Right.
So people who are damaged, they didn't do that to themselves. So we have to find a way of working with our people to reform them. I'm not the same person I was. I have to reform myself with how I was raised. So whatever people see now, they see because I learned that from my mother and my father and my stepfather. And I pass it on to who? My son. People say, oh, Dougie this, Dougie that. I know why. And I know how it can be done. As long as we understand that if a person has a problem, he did not give it to himself or herself.
Okay, I understand that. So let me ask you something. What are some of the most important things in your life that you have accomplished and that you're very grateful for?
Well, one of them is called Radio Raheem.
Really? I remember him.
One is called Terry.
Oh, you're
the other one
so
sweet.
You're so kind.
You see, it's the people that I'm around that I get a chance to influence that makes me happy.
That is so sweet.
You know, my son, I talk to Jalil on the phone. I tell anybody they can call me anytime they want. I don't know how long I've got left on this earth at 82. I want to get it all out.
Right.
So I give out my cards. My son, Abdul, left me and went to Maryland. But before he left, he bought me 3,000 cards.
Really?
With my name on them.
Really?
And when I need dictionaries, I'll call the lady for the dictionaries, and she says, he done told her, when he called me, you call me, and I'll send you the money. So I got 20 dictionaries, and she said, well, Dad, it's $100 and some. I said, okay. And then I called up Abdul. He said, I sent her the money already. And I told her, I said, look, you send in the money, but you could get the dividends off of that $150 by donating it to the school. She said, I ain't pay that no mind, brother, babe. So now, even though Abdul's pays for them, and she pays from her checking account, she writes that off as a donation to Strong Readers.
A donation to...
you know. And then I get a chance. People say, well, why you give the dictionary away? I said, because I want people to know that I'm serious about what I do. And when a person has trust in you, you can tell them things and they listen. This is the dictionary that we study out of. Webster's New World College Dictionary, 4th edition. They got many different editions. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all that. But you have to learn how to read this. Because the words that you use, you don't even know what you're using. Because as much as you went to school, you can't read. I can show everybody in here that you can't read. Because you have to, me and Archimede was talking about that, you have to be able to look through what you're reading. Like, I'll just give you one word, religion. Mm-hmm. If you look in definition number 1 and 2, they'll talk about going to church, they talk about Islam and all that stuff there. And when you get down to definition number 3, under religion, I'll say the two words first, and then I'm gonna put the other 2 back on the back end. Okay. Definition number 3 for religion is a way of life. Now, I left off for people, because soon you say for people, people go back up to definition number 1 and 2. So now you're going to be a Christian or Muslim. You're not going to know the science. Because doesn't an alligator have a way of life?
Yes. A
cat, a rat,
That's
a dog,
right.
A butterfly. All that is living things. An apple tree. So what is life? What is religion? It's how you have to operate to survive your way of life. Every animal got some kind of different thing that they do. Right. Birds got different wingspans and toes and all kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. So that's the way of life. So you can't act like a dog. Right. Or a butterfly. Butterflies can't act like that. You know, so this is what, when you learn how to read, I learned how to read by going to etymology classes that my son took me that I didn't even want to go.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to go, but because of how we work with each other,
yes. I
said, no, I'm not going to disappoint him not to go. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I went.
Yes.
And guess what? The guy who had the show in Brooklyn, Dr. Billy Tillybank, who I named him that, he made me the president of the school.
Oh, wow.
And told the class, he says, Brother Bay knows more about life than I do.
Okay.
I just know etymology. And then there's things in etymology he doesn't know. Because I had the students in here to do some research. The linguistical methodologies. Yes. A whole bunch of stuff. And guess what it is? It's still the same joke.
All these years later.
Yeah, it's still a joke. You got to be able to look through this and find, go past definition number 1 and 2. And then when you get to number 3, you got to know how to read that one. If you can't read that, guess what you do? You go back up to definition number 1 and 2. And you're going to go to church, give up the money, and the priest is going to still be doing their little thing. And you still say, I praise the Lord. And Lord forgive him for molesting the children.
My goodness gracious.
Those 600 children in Baltimore molested by a priest.
Yeah, it's sad.
Where's the jail time for them at?
Now we getting ready to go into a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. Well, this is the book.
But I have another question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is the book. Oh, okay. So my next question is, if there was one big thing in your life that you would like to accomplish within the next 365 days, what would it be?
Land. And a plan.
A plan and some land.
Right. See, if we got a land, we can move out and do our own thing. Mm-hmm. Like this place called the Akbar.
Yes.
It's the most powerful thing here in Mount Vernon, a so-called black town.
Yes.
For 45 years. And they don't get no credibility.
Right.
All of the mayors that have been here have not given this place the credibility they're supposed to get. Right. The people from the outside help supply all these things here. Mm-hmm. Did the mayor come in here and do a tour?
Right.
Did the city council come in here and do a tour? They're probably told not to do it. We don't want to blow them up. Mm-hmm. Those Negroes, man, might get learn something. Look, I'm 82 years old. I didn't know none of this here stuff if I didn't come here and be a part of this program here. Right. Malcolm X got a stamp after they killed him too. Is Prince up there? You know, so my joy is the things that I'm involved with. Just like this here, I'm happy with this here. I get a chance to express myself. Yeah. I also get a chance for people to tell me, like radio, about what I told him and what he learned. Right. You.
Oh yes, sir.
Brother Ahmed is inviting me into the art bar. Yeah. You know, we was up on the roof today. Yeah. We was roofers yesterday. Yeah. You know,
so well, you doing a whole lot at 82 years old. You are on top of the rules. You are still fixing locks. And get your mind right and the rest will follow.
That's right.
That's what it says, right?
That's right.
I'm still working on trying to get my mind right. But I understand that you've been in this particular area.
Don't work on it. Get it right.
Get it right.
See, you can keep on getting it right.
And it'll never get it right.
You have to make a choice. If you don't change your mind, it ain't going to never happen. Right. So if you're looking for change, you got to do it. You got to say no salt, no sugar, no this. Those honey buns was good that we had.
No honey buns.
So that's not a regular thing. Right. Remember, you can do something bad once in a while. Yes. But you can't do it consistently. It will catch up with you. You see what I'm saying?
Everything you do in life has to have a balance.
That's right.
You know, and yes, you're right. I'm going to do it.
See, I like that.
I'm going to do it. And I have a motivator. His name is Yaki Awakening. We're going to have to bring him around sometime to help us educate the rest of the community as far as our health and the foods that we should and shouldn't be eating, the things that are killing us and making us sick, you know. But you have had over how many children in this community come through you?
Oh, wow.
And they're still coming.
I don't have a number. I just keep doing it. It could be on the train. Right. I could walk up to my elevator. I come down. If I don't know the person's face, I say, "Excuse me. When is Mother's Day?" and she says, I don't know. Right. I said, "You don't know?" Okay. Who birthed you? My mother. Yes. Whose birthday is it? It's mine. So how could it be your birthday if your mother birthed you? And then you look at your face and you say,
yes. Because that's the look that I had when you asked me that question.
You have the look about, I just got it. And I can see you just got it on your face. She said, I didn't know that. I said, well, when were you born? On the same day. I said, no, you wasn't. You was born when the sperm met the egg. They said, oh, wow, you're right. When is Father's Day? Some people would say, let me think about it. And other people say it's the same days. You got 2 Mother's Days and 2 Father's Days. One is when it gets started, and the other one is when it's finished by the woman. So when the baby comes from out of the mother, and the mama can see the baby, and the male can see the baby, that's your Father's Day and Mother's Day. And the one is the beginning.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, I mean, for years, I ain't know either, but because my mind is kind of scientific, I can lay on my bed, and something you got to be careful with too, for the good. Remember what a bad dream is all about. That is your pineal gland speaking to you. Oh. Ain't nobody in your head. Okay. That's your pineal gland that sends signals to you to think about something. Or it will send things to you for you to think about. Take a look at that again.
Right.
That's what the pineal gland does. They didn't teach you that. You have somebody where's it come, they say it's in my brain. That's not in your brain. Your brain is just a house. Okay. The place you go at is the mind. Your mind is the most important thing on the body. It gives you direction.
Yeah, they say we have trillions and billions of eons in our, excuse me, in our brain.
You know what's in there? your grandmother, your great-great-great-great-grandmother.
Recently.
They can sip that information back into your mind about things that happened a long time before you was even born.
Trauma that they had that we may be able to experience because of the DNA that we have, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And that gets passed on too through DNA.
Mm-hmm.
You see people come out all messed up. They came out messed up because their mama was messed up and their daddy was messed up. So you get some messed up genes.
Right.
You know, but you know, like you asked me, I mean, I would want us to get a piece of land. There's land all over this country.
Yes, it is.
You understand? And we're happy being right where we at.
Right.
And we keep paying them the money all the time. We pay it through taxes, and they go and have their people to be a part of the taxes, and bring their own people in to get paid.
Okay.
You understand? But we get nothing out of it. So we got to do for ourselves. In this town right here, it's a small town, and we have lost. I got some stuff that I wrote that's not in here no more for the last 49 years. Social services are gone.
Gone?
Right.
What do you mean?
The main place is up in White Plains now.
So in the city of Mount Vernon, there's no Social Security office here?
No, they took it and put it into Rochelle.
Wow.
Lots of things in Mount Vernon they took out. The movie was here, gone.
The movies was gone.
Right. The swimming pool is gone down in the park. It's a wading pool. So none of us will learn how to swim in a wading pool.
Right.
And then in the high school, it was closed down for 10 years, and we protested it. But they still kept it out for 10 years. Now it's back.
Right.
But who's going to swim?
Well,
It's like a play pool. Everybody jumping in there. You got no time to learn how to swim. It's just a play in the water. See? And we think it's okay. You can splash the water and smack it up against somebody's face. But guess what? No swimmer's going to come out of Mount Vernon. Unless you go to Pelham High School, Pelham schools, where they teach those Caucasian kids how to swim. They tore it down and we don't even see what's happening here. We don't see that. No.
Well, we were talking about trying to build the community back up.
What's that word?
We were speaking about
What's that
trying.
word?
What did I say
You said
incorrectly?
try.
Oh, yes.
Try means
We're going to create programs that are going to build up this community.
We need to use that, change that word too.
We?
Program.
Oh, right.
We've been programmed already.
Yeah, all our lives.
Being
right?
black, Negro, and colored, you've been programmed.
And you know, when you have conversations and you think about these words that are being utilized and with the words that we've been speaking for so many years, a lot of the words we don't know the meaning of. We haven't taken an opportunity to look them up. And they're saying, or the words that we're utilizing is creating like a hamper on top of our spirits. You know, we don't even recognize it.
Right. But see, it's our jobs to change that. By everybody that you talk to, you let them understand. You know, I told the guy, I said, look, you just learned this here. I said, you dumb.
Ooh.
I said, but I was dumber than you. See, so I just took that away.
Right.
I was dumb, and dumb means what? It just means you don't know.
You don't understand.
Ignorant means ignorant is not a bad word.
Right.
You just don't know. So how many things is it that we don't know? You're ignorant to that fact.
Well, you know, not only are we ignorant, our parents were ignorant, our grandparents were ignorant to certain things, which is why we don't have the knowledge that we should have now because we weren't taught as children.
Yeah, whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that?
Yes.
That's not our fault.
I didn't ask you that.
It's the government's fault. It's the Caucasians' fault.
Right, the slave
for
masters.
teaching us the wrong information
and
from day one.
And putting it on your baby CD.
Yes, on the CD.
And you grow up with that on your mind. You know nothing else.
Oh, just like now, the music, the videos.
Because you get money. You get money to act like a fool. and to help spread the stupidness.
Yes.
They're trying to put rap music above hip hop.
Yes.
Hip hop was a little, gave it a little more flavor.
Oh, I remember hip hop when hip hop. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
but so they did what? They invested their money into a young man or a young woman who had problems in her life and said, look, we want you to do this rhyme. And we're going to pay you. And you're good.
Right.
And we're going to give it to him. He's good. So now he done sold a bunch of records all over the place, but the stuff is negative.
Yeah.
Ain't no love in there calling the women names. And
Right.
running around shaking your body and showing your titties and all that kind of stuff. Is that what you teach your little daughter? Or teach your son how to be disrespectful to women? We already got disrespect from just not knowing when Mother's Day is.
Yes.
It's not our fault that it happened, but we got to fix it, though.
Yes.
We have to fix it. So that's all of our job, is to fix that. That means you might have to be in your own little place, you understand, 50, 60 acres or whatever it is. Build your own homes the same way they did when they came here.
Yes.
They built fort this and fort that and fort this. And all they did was they built a thing made out of trees, 30 feet in the air, where the indigenous people couldn't get to them. And then they send in what? Other people with horse and wagons to come and claim land. Well, we was here, this was here, but they're not teaching you that in school.
Well, we know that we were the true original indigenous people.
Who's we know? Who's that?
African American Black.
They don't know that.
They don't know that?
No, they don't.
But we're going to help them learn.
Yes, we're going to do that.
Okay.
And that's why this stuff has to happen. So when I give this dictionary away for free, they say, this man gave me a dictionary.
Yeah.
I gave the lady yesterday
Yes.
a dictionary when she came for me to vote for the mayor. She said, you gave this to me? Yes. I'm going to tell you how to use it too. Any word that you know that you never looked it up, look it up and read it well.
Yes.
Scrutinize everything that you read, and your mind will get changed.
Yes. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited because the children in the community need to have the truth.
Yes.
They need to learn what's going to be relevant for them to be successful.
You said children? You mean the people in the community need to know the truth. You got to convince the parents.
The parents and the children. Yes.
You see, so when you give the facts out, the facts is for everybody.
Yes, it is.
So if you don't get to the mother and father, the children still get messed up over there.
Yeah, well, they get educated here and go back home and get reintroduced to the same negativity.
So we just have to step up our game, and this is part of it, like this here.
Yes.
The
beginning.
Yes.
Putting in the
continuation.
Footwork. We had the ground. We had the ground level, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.